So this is Nikki, and you are listening to the How to Be Magical podcast. And we are here today with a brand new How to Be Magical season 2, where we talk to different practitioners from throughout the diaspora about their positions and their perspectives in their respective paths. And this week we have a very special guest. We are talking with Keka from Negra with Tumbao.
And
yes. She's also a contributor for Blavity. She's a contributor for Black Stew News, Black Stew After Dark, as well as her website, negrawithtumbao.com. And I found her many moons ago on the internet, and I loved her blog, and I'm very happy to be speaking with her today. And she hails from Detroit. Am I right?
Yes.
Yes.
West Side.
Which I find to be absolutely fascinating. I love Black people, so I'm always interested in Black people in different places. You know, I'm from New York, so I'm just like, I don't know. The first time we talked, I was like, oh my gosh, she sounds like such a city girl. I love it. Like,
yes, a funny city girl to my heart.
Exactly, like real, like, oh my gosh, it was so heartwarming. And you're Black, and you're
yes,
Cuban, right?
Yes.
So you're like a true Afro Latina. Like, we know that
yes.
all this Afro Latino shit is, very buzzwordy right now.
I'm Black.
It's very buzzwordy. I'm like, listen, there's a lot of people claiming to be Black now that was not trying to be Black a couple of years ago. I don't know. I don't know what they're giving out with Blackness these days to make people feel like everybody got to be Black right now.
Opportunities that we can't get, but if you white and say you Black, honey, you get everything.
I mean, apparently that seems to be the new game. We're gonna talk about that because this is a very interesting conversation today. So, Keka, would you like to explain to the people at home in terms of like religiously and spiritually, like what is your involvement with lucumi?
Well, in lucumi, I'm initiated to Yemaya, so I'm a Yemaya priestess.
Okay.
And I just had my second birthday, August 29th.
Happy birthday!
Thank you.
Happy birthday!
I'm a baby.
Yes, you are. Oh,
so I'm newly initiated, but I've been in a tradition pretty much my whole life. My family is like santeros and, well, the proper phrase, Olorisha. So I grew up in a religion, but I finally made the jump.
Okay, now what was that like growing up in a religion? Because you grew up in Detroit, but so is it your Cuban family that was in the religion like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what was that like?
So I actually grew up in I grew up Muslim.
Okay.
And so my mom, when she married my dad, she never converted. And it was through her family, and my mom, I learned the religion. And I decided when I was 14 that I didn't want to be Muslim anymore.
Oh my gosh. So this has been a recurring thread with talking with other practitioners about how you can be like you and lucumi to a certain extent allows a lot of room for people to explore different faiths as long as you keep your commitments to Ifa and lucumi and Olorisha. Like, so this is interesting that you were raised Muslim and that you on your own volition came to say, I'm going to take with myself. Did you find that anything from your Islamic upbringing like translated into your practice with Olorisha?
So, although Muslims will not say this, there's a lot of mysticism in Islam. The jinn that's a part of that spiritual court. People don't talk about it. People, they say, oh, you serve Allah and that's it. And I mean, if you read the history on Islam, how it came to be, it was polytheistic in the beginning. Muslims will never tell you that though. So for me, it was just, I mean, even the fact that Allah has 3 daughters that they never really talk about in Islam.
Oh,
yeah. So, and they would be, I hate to use equivalent because it's not really equivalence across the pantheon, but they would be the equivalents to Yemaya, Oshun, and Yemaya if you had to break them down.
Wow. Okay. I never knew that.
Yeah. So, Allah's 3 daughters, Alat, Aluta, and Manat are his 3 daughters.
Okay.
And so if you're telling me that there's one God, right? And it's a monotheistic religion, Muhammad made a pact with Allah to only serve him, and you should submit to only one God. And he has 3 daughters. And they're born from a God. How can they not be deities?
I mean, that's the logic that I will follow.
That's the logic, right?
Right.
So, for me, it wasn't that I didn't feel like I didn't get anything from it. I mean, Islam teaches discipline, absolutely. But it's just, and there's an ancestral aspect to Islam too. When your family dies, you do the water, you do light, and you do a photo. So across these different lands, the practices are kind of the same. So I don't have a beef with Islam. I don't have a beef with Christianity. I don't have a beef with anybody's faith. But I know that there's something bigger than what's being said to us, and I find that in lucumi, in African traditional religions, because I'm initiated into more than one. But I find that freedom and that thing that I need to know that I'm connected to something bigger than this world.
I agree, and I share the same sentiment. Like when it comes to Christianity, because I was raised, like my grandmother was very Christian. I was raised in a Christian house, but I also feel like I was around that age, like 13, 14, when I was like, this is not doing enough. Like it was that feeling of like, I don't have no problem coming here with y'all. So I don't got no problem with y'all. But I'm not feeling like I don't feel like this. I feel like there's more that you're not telling me, you know?
Yeah.
For me, I feel that Abrahamic religions don't put enough emphasis on and teaching on the feminine aspect of divinity.
Absolutely.
It's very man. And I'm like, okay, so who made all these people? And why are we acting like women are not important? And it's like, that's not important in this shit. I don't have the story, you know. So I like how you just told me, I never knew that Allah had 3 daughters. Now I'm like, that changes things. That makes things, you know, that spices things up a little bit. Because who are they? Who's descended from them? What is that? What kind of energy would they have? Like I wouldn't consider them to be human if they're
exactly.
You know, like
and they're tied to the elements in nature, the water, the celestial plane, the earth. So you telling me we honor this being in the sky, but what about the rest? What about the rest of the planet? Like there's the earth, there's water, there are the elements like rocks and land. So what about those elements? Because they have importance.
Yeah, you know. And I feel like to just say everything's God, it's very limiting, you know. Like, yes, I do believe that everything is a God, everything has a spirit, its own personal essence. But the acknowledgement of those individual essences is what I find that, you know, African diasporic traditions are very specific about those things. They be like, listen, the salt water and the river water ain't the same kind of spirit. It's 2 different spirits. You know,
yes.
The mountainside and the crossroads is different. It's different. Like, and
absolutely
just acknowledging the different frequencies that are there in that very specific way, and saying that, okay, to honor this energy, we do this, and this. And that's very specific. It's literally like somebody knowing your name and calling your name on the street rather than just saying, hey, you know, like, who are you talking to? I don't know who you is. Nobody named me you. And then you just keep on going about your business. Like, I wouldn't respond to somebody just yelling at me randomly on the street, throwing a piece of fruit at me. Like, hey, you, hit me right. In the hand. I'm like, yo.
Right.
Nah, they're not doing it. But say, hey, how you putting it? I know you like this, that, and the other. Oh, I might be more inclined to talk to you.
There's also an aspect in lucumi that I think comes from Abrahamic religions where we say lucumi is monotheistic. And I don't necessarily believe that. Even, you know, initiated priests will say, oh, it's a monotheistic religion, and I don't believe that. Like,
I don't either.
Yeah, like Yemaya is not a demigod or demigoddess. Oshun is not a demigoddess. They all, like they say, they're emissaries of a supreme being, and I believe every deity has a role in the way the world is made, and in how they play into the lives of people. So you'll find that people will say it's a monotheistic religion. I'm telling you, I don't think it is. I'm not arguing about it. You believe what you believe. I believe what I believe, but I gotta give them their propers. And it's not fair to say that they are God's helpers when they're gods themselves. So I don't subscribe to that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are still coming to terms with like how colonization really affected the way they view things in their life, because I feel like it's people just like it's just very easy to be like, no, we it's one God, it's all one God, you know, just to be like, no, we're not one of those people, we don't do that, we're not praying to different idols and all that. But it's like, but we are acknowledging different energies, and we, you know, we can't diminish, like you just said, we can't diminish the Orisha, the Mbungo or the Lawa to just be like they are you know, a helper. You know, it's like they have their own dominions and they have their own way of doing things. It's like they are their own little world as well. Like I can't, you know, I don't know. Even when we think about the different ways that we call on what's our one God, right? You have Olodumare, you have Olofin, you have Olorun, right? It's like, okay, so we acknowledging all of these different places. The timing of God, like, come on, y'all. We splitting hairs here, okay?
Yeah.
We can't sit up here and say there's one, but we have so many different ways and communication methods and all this stuff. Like, there's clearly more than one, and that's okay. Like, that's not a, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. But I think a lot of us still have that mindset where it's like, oh no, I don't do that. You know, I believe in God. Nobody say you don't believe in God. You know, there's more than one. You know. One thing that always so growing up Muslim, you know, you have your foundations in Islam, you have that link to because your father was practicing, but then you somehow managed to come to your own terms and say, you know what, I want to embrace this other side. Did you go to Cuba to study? Was that something that was available to you in Detroit? Like, I'm not sure what the Orisha community is like in the Midwest. I know that it's like
Detroit is trash, but keep it moving.
I mean, I just don't know. Like, I know New York is a hub. I know Miami is a hub. I know there's some people in Atlanta. I don't know much about how it goes down in Detroit. So, like, did you have to go back and forth a lot to different places, or like is it like that your mom has her folks and you came into find your own? So,
I mean, they're my family, so it's just I saw it.
Okay.
Like, my aunts have respectively, my aunts and uncles respectively probably have 300 years of Oshun between them. So it wasn't like a transition where I had to go look and Google search, and I could just ask a question. And it was a thing of you see it, and then when you're in it, you understand what it is. So it wasn't for me. I was fortunate that I didn't have, to go searching for answers from different people. I had it right in my backyard. So I was fortunate in that respect. Okay.
It's that is something that a lot of people have a hard time with, like finding the right people, because we could talk about like some of the
foolery, the fuckery.
Some of the bullshit that people, are experiencing out here. But I think, it's a lot to process for people that aren't in, don't have any inside connection to what's going on. I'm trying to think, like, what is it, like, I don't know. I mean, between the Bible Laos and the DMs and these funny, people making these pages and these YouTube channels of all kinds of nonsense, it's like, how do you stop, this flow of misinformation. But Betty, how do people know what is like a reputable source? Like, how do they know? I know certain things, but I'm not initiated. So there's like, I have elders, thank God, to be like, hey, leave that alone, or like, hey, I don't
girl, like, girl, don't fuck with that.
Don't fuck with that, or to be like, yeah, this is good, but they're missing this, that, and the other.
Well, honestly, now that we're in the age of social media, there's a lot more information. This faith was very closed. It still is closed to a certain degree, but now you have access to groups, and there are a lot of groups that give really good information. I'm a part of some of these groups, but there are some groups that give you bullshit, and it's okay to ask questions. It's not okay to pay money for free information. So now, and I say this because, I've been behind the scenes watching for a really, really long time. Before, priests didn't really talk about what you could do with your ancestors, or, that, which is the first start. Like, that's the first step in every African traditional religion. It's your ancestors. They never talked about those things unless you were a part of their houses. And now I believe that priests are more open to discussing that. But with that comes the hustle. Like, you see on Facebook, everybody and their mama offering a class of Orisha 101. Like, why are you charging people for free shit? I'm telling you, as a priestess, I'm not going to charge you shit to know about the steps of initiation, or the hierarchy in the religion. Like, that's free shit that you learn once you become a part of a house. Now, if you aren't connected to a house, or you live in an area where you don't have access to that, you shouldn't be penalized for that. So honestly, right now, the best thing, and I'll give some of those groups, the best group to be in on Facebook for Orisha worship, the Women's Only Orisha group.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like, they have documents of information that we couldn't pay to get on what you need to do. And also, I want to talk about, if we can, this whole thing that everybody and their mama feel like they got to jump to initiation. I know it seems like everybody and their mama get initiated because this, for a lot of people, it's a business and a cash cow. But really, most people don't have to be initiated. If we keeping it 100.
Let's keep it 100.
Most people don't have to be initiated. And as a person who was initiated, I got my Bahala done in 1998 in California. It took me 20 years to crown. So you coming in thinking, oh, I want to learn about Orisha. Yeah, I want to get initiated. Like, who the fuck are you?
Oh.
Like, the fuck? Because you feel like it's going to give you something. No, that's not. We're not here for Orisha to serve us. We serve them. Yes. And through our service, we receive. And there's only two reasons why you'll ever be initiated into this faith. One is to save your life. And typically those people are closed in Ocha. They can't initiate people. It's literally the Ocha is only for them. It literally saves their lives. The second reason is if you have to have a place in the religion, if to work in the religion, to bring knowledge of the Orisha to people. Those are only two reasons. So, sorry to this man, but more than likely, if you come into the faith, you don't have to be initiated. And if you get with a godparent that, out the gate is like, oh, they talking initiations to you, that's a red flag. And I would piece them the fuck out.
Yeah, but I think you touched on a good point. Is like, people think that is. I mean, whether that's, whether they feel like there's more respect, some type of recognition.
I think they look at it as a sense of having some sort of power. Like, it's a magical power that you could turn on and fuck people up with. Like, I mean, we keeping it a buck. Orisha will fuck you up. But it's not to gain material things. It's not to have a material position. Because which is why a lot of people, it seems like now the Ocha world is crazy because people who are initiated who should have never been initiated. And your Ocha only amplifies your character.
Talk about
so
it.
If you were a shady motherfucker before you got initiated, you're going to be a shady motherfucker times infinity afterwards. You're going to be... I'm serious. Like, you have to be of a certain character. Iwapele is important. It means good character. And you have to have good character in order to be in this space. And there's a lot of people with Ocha who don't have good character.
And you know, that's the crazy part, is because there's one of my little homegirls. I love her. She's so sweet. But like, we were talking about different, you know, like different people that she knows of that are initiated into different practices. And she was like, "Oh, I thought that you had to be a good person to be initiated." I was like, "Who told you that?" Like, if you got the money, somebody will do it for you. This is not about, you know, good and bad. You know, it's like, it is or it isn't, you know. So there are some people who they know the right things. And it's like, we're talking about technologies essentially, right? It's like there are some people who they know the proper ways to set up a ceremony. They know the right things to do ritualistic, you know, they know the things. That does not make them a good person. They just know a little something, you know. And that information in the wrong hands can be dangerous. You know, that could be dangerous. There are a lot of people who I feel, I'm like, damn, I don't know if you should be tinkering around with stuff like this. You are unstable, you know, like you are unstable, you are unwell.
Yes.
Maybe this is not, you know, the way that you should be using your Ache to like do anything other than fortify your situation. Like how you said, there are some people that get it because they need to be, you know, their life needs to be saved. They was sick. They were dangerously ill. Ocha's going to save their life. I wonder how many of those people, you know, went against their own Ita and started initiating children, you know, taking on God's children.
To that. So on the frame of Ita, right? So unlike Christianity, unlike Islam, like when you get your Ita Male, that is literally how you are to live your life for the rest of your days that you are on earth. And if you live according to your Ita, you will live the best life you can possibly have. That doesn't mean you're going to be rich. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be a prominent figure, like famous. It doesn't mean those things. It just means that they're going to give you the tools to live your best life. And when you go through something, it won't be long lasting, because life, everybody goes through something. So it's not to say you're going to have a perfect life where you won't have obstacles that you have to get over. But if you listen to your Ita, you live by it, your life will work out pretty smoothly in the grand scheme of things.
Okay.
And it's not like, it's not free will. Like your Ita, that's the rule book. Follow it, you good. If you don't, you fuck. That's it.
And that's what I love about this, is that, you know, the specificity of the information that you receive is like, oh, it's just for you, you know, like that. Nobody can look in one book and make a whole out of people. Like, no, this is just for you.
Yeah.
Okay? So, like you said, follow it. If you know what's good for you, you will do the things that you're supposed to do. And if you don't, you can't say nobody and tell you that this was going to be the thing that's going to fuck your situation up. And I like that.
Nobody didn't tell you.
Can't say nobody didn't tell you. I love that, because we've all had those moments where it's like when you did something that you was told not to do and it backfires, and you're like, well, I can't be mad at nobody right now. Like, I could be mad, I could, but I really don't have a leg to stand on right now. I was told not to do such and such, and I did it anyway, and this whole shit is blown up, and I'm gonna have to hold this. I have to take this L.
Yes, I'll hold this L.
I'm gonna have to hold this L, and I don't know. I feel like, you know, you have to go through that at least once to fully respect the power of what you're dealing with. Otherwise, a lot of people will just be like, Yeah, they say I can't do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Okay.
So,
Okay.
Maita is not really. I mean, well, it's a lot. Maita is a lot, but half of the stuff that's in it, like for example, the taboos that I have of things that I can no longer do.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my taboos is I can't have a firearm anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, I own the gun. I'm nice with it. I believe that I should have a firearm. Am I gonna go buy a firearm now that I got OSHA after they told me I couldn't? No. But also some things have happened in my life where if I would have had a gun, I would be in jail.
Wow.
So, because I'm not saying I'm gully in these streets. I ain't even trying to hold that, but I have a temper, and some things I'm not a person who has fear. And when it comes to protecting the people I love, it's whatever for me. So Orishas know me. So they're like, sit your ass down, don't argue, walk away.
Mm.
And walking away is something hard for me. I mean, I've been doing it these past 2 years, and let me tell you, honey. Let me tell you. Okay. The peace that I have. Blocking people, I would never block people. I will get the last word on everything, and I clown you from your mama to your grandmama. Nah, I'll block your ass and go to sleep. Peace. I got peace.
Peace. That is a level of peace that a lot of people don't know.
Peace. I'm like, okay, so that's what y'all was talking about. Okay, I got it. So things like another one of my taboos, I can't cry.
Okay.
So when you're dealing with grief, like I lost my dad 3.5 years ago, probably the most devastating loss of my life. I'm lying. It is the most devastating loss of my life. And you can't cry, and you suffer from depression. What the fuck?
So how do you? Well, you don't have to tell everybody all your business, but like, what is something that you have done to kind of? Because I'm emotional as hell. I'm a crier. So
I'm a crier.
I'm a crier. I'm a crier.
So when I cry, I laugh. I smile.
Okay.
So they won't be offended and take it like I'm not grateful for what they've given me.
Wow. Yeah.
And it's not easy to do all the time.
No, I mean, I think that, when we talk about EWAP-LA and building good character, like good character is a lifetime journey, like it really is. It's not something that we're gonna be able to just get, and just be like, oh, I got this thing and I'm good. It's like you're gonna constantly be tested and yeah, just tested. They challenge to push beyond what you feel is good. They're like, yeah, you good, you could be better. And that is one thing that I also appreciate about these traditions is that when we talk about, I think that a lot of people get caught up in all of the mysticism and the magic of things. Like, oh my gosh, ooh, you talk with spirits, ooh, and it's like, yeah, but we're doing it for a purpose. We're not just doing it just to do it. It's like you getting your readings and divination so that way you can make sure you're staying on the right track for your destiny, so you can do the things you said you was gonna do before you got here. Like that is the point. So I think that when we see, how the community is, in this transformation right now, because it is something that people, I went to school in Spanish Harlem my whole life. So I grew up around Santeria. Like we don't talk about like what is called in New York is Santeria, right? And that's from the Bronx. That's from East Harlem. It's like that was something that was brought by Puerto Ricans, and they kept it going. And that was something that I was raised around and never felt uncomfortable around. Going to Botanica since I was like 3-4 years old, like tiny. My mom, she's getting her readings. I'm there playing with the plants. Like it's a whole thing. But the transformation of it to be something that's a little bit more public now. You're gonna have this like influx of just a mix of different kinds of people, energies, and stuff. I don't feel that means that the tradition is going to get watered down. I mean, I feel like it is dangerous to get involved with people that don't know what they're doing. Like that that's scary to me. Like the thought of being mixed up with the wrong people in this is like, oh gosh, that's how you lose your life. You will literally lose your mind. You will go crazy. You will, like, it's not a game. But at the same time, it's like if you really want, if you really feel like certain things are for you, and if they are for you, there will be a way, a way will be made. And it might not be the most easy, pleasant experience all the time, but if you really believe it, there's a lot of things. I mean, listen, Yemaya saved my life, okay? Somebody was trying to kill me. Somebody was trying to kill me, okay? She was like, nah. We not.
Yeah.
And so it's like, this is as an Aleo, I get a reading, and they're like, someone's trying to, like, excuse me? And it was hard, like getting that message was hard, but like understanding, it gave me an understanding of how, maybe a very small understanding, because I do not claim to understand the inner workings of, God, but it gave me a small inkling of how I was perceived in this whole thing. That like, okay, as a non-initiate, this entity is stepping up to help me and save my life. Why? Like, what did I do to deserve that? That makes you, it's very humbling, because I could have left that reading and they gave me a whole album, everything to do, and I could have been like, whatever, that's whatever. And God knows what could have happened if I didn't make Ebo and do the things that they told me to do, and to make adjustments in my character. Because sometimes too, there's a lot of Ebos where they'll tell you, like, the Ebo is, you got to change this, and the third. It's not just the offering. You have to make a significant change. You have to sacrifice something. You got to give something up. So to make that Ebo, and for things to turn around, not all at one time, right? This was years ago that happened, but like, when you look at your life in a broad timeline, and you'll see how subtle changes, and subtle pieces of information make big alterations in your life path and in your work, that's very humbling to be like, oh shit. So like you said, it took you 20 years to make it to the Ocha room. Like, but that's 20 years of growth and lessons, and, and just things, new discoveries about yourself and about your relationship with spirit. Like, that's great. And I'm sure that made you appreciate your crowning even more, to be like, I waited all this time and now I'm here finally receiving, fulfilling my end of the deal for something that I already knew that I had to do.
Honey, I was a crying mess. I was a crying mess. And so, like, and then we take for granted the things that we learned through our year in white, our Iyaworahe, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was alone during my Iyaworahe. But what I kept forward, or what I kept present rather, in my mind was, I have Orisha. I don't need nobody else. Like, if my godparents never check on me, if my family never calls, I don't need nothing else. And I'm close to my family when I say this, so yeah, don't think I'm beefed out with my family. Like, I'm hella close to my family. But I had everything I needed. My dad passed in January 2017, and I hadn't slept in 2 years.
Wow. When
I made Ocha, baby, I slept. And I slept. Like, I woke up at the crack of dawn every day, just like, good morning. It was like, I talk about it in a blog post, peace that passes understanding. Like, it's a peace that you can never, ever know until you have it. Like, I could describe it and it sounds amazing, but feeling that shit is like, wow. And there's never been a time, even before I had Ocha, where I needed something and it wasn't there, like in real time. I think we take that for granted in this faith too. Like, it's not like Christianity, or it's like when you like, oh, you pray, you just gotta pray, you gotta pray. And if God wants you to have it, nah, like, son, if most people don't know this, but I was laid off from my job in January.
Okay.
Laid off, like, I go from 6 figures to like, oh shit, I'm laid off. And it is September, and I ain't never missed a beat. They opened the world up to me. And you just have to be unafraid and just trust. So also in this, there's faith, and you have to have blind faith. Not that hold on to the rope and I'm going to just stick my foot in the water to see if it's too cold. You just got to jump. And I jumped. And I believe everything that comes to me comes through my Egun and Olorisha, my Nikki. Everything that I have, they make sure that I'm okay.
That's literally how it is. You know, when you have that thought of like, I'm not alone. You know, we got this covered. We got this covered, you know, and I know that y'all have given me something to work with, and I'm going to work that. Y'all said it's going to work, so I'm going to believe that it's going to work. And I'm not going to, you know, try and figure out how it's going to work before it's happening. I'm just going to do what I'm supposed to do.
Listen,
I'm going to do my part, and then everything is going to be, that's not the same as just pray and it'll get better. It's like, nah, it's like it's that directness of like, y'all said that these things are my blessings. You know, you told me that these are my gifts, and that if I use them, that I will be okay. You know, so to just even know about, you know, what your gifts are and what you are actually really here. That also perspective about what you think you should be doing and what you think is going to bring you money. But it's like, they told you that this is the way to make $1. You know, this is the way to put food on the table. Why would you know better? You know?
Yeah.
So I think that's also something that people have to understand when they come into these traditions, is that like you said, there's no free will. It's not about what you want. It's about, are you committed to doing what is expected of you and what's being asked of you? Otherwise, why are you asking?
Yes. Because otherwise, why you asking?
Why you asking? Because it's like, if you're gonna ask and you're not gonna do, then you wasting everybody's time here. Okay, don't waste nobody's time. You know, not even your own. Don't waste it. You know, if you're not prepared to, like, I saw something that you had wrote the other day. You said, you know, it's crazy when there's some stuff that you don't even bat an eyelash at now. They ask you to do. You're like, oh, okay, I can do that. Oh, all right.
Listen,
that's it. Fine. Fine.
So do you have your Lakers and Warriors, right?
No, I'm actually, well, now that we talk about it, I'm getting my Lakers and my Warriors on October 2nd.
Oh my God, congratulations.
Thank you. Cat's out the bag there. But
yeah. See, I'm all of your business. My bad.
So by the time this episode ends, I will have my Lakers and my Warriors, God willing. So
yes. So there are things like, because I don't think people know what to expect, right? Because they don't tell us shit, right? Mm-mm. You don't know shit.
Nothing.
Nothing. Bring this, and I had all of these. Oh, I ain't gonna be me. When I would hear people talk about it, and then it happened. It was just like, I'm gonna just shut the fuck up. I'm gonna just eat my food. Whatever y'all gonna say, I'm gonna eat it. Whatever y'all gonna do, I'm gonna let you. Like, okay. That's the shit you can't prepare for. I mean, even like my daughter has to make Ocha. She has to crown Oshun. I'm so excited for her.
She's so beautiful. Y'all, her daughter is so gorgeous, y'all. It's like,
thank you.
She is the most beautiful, like, little ball of sunshine. Like,
she's like a little Oshuncita. Like,
why is she so
like
sunny?
She's baby.
Just like, oh, she's everything. God bless her.
Thank you. So am I going to tell her what's going to happen? No. But there are certain things that I am, just because, I crowned as an adult. She's 18. That I know some people think 18 is grown. I don't.
18 is not grown.
Yes,
my baby.
So there are certain things that I'm going to share with her just so she can be prepared. And I'm going to be there when she crowns. Of course, I won't have a role in her crowning in terms of putting a chair on her head, but I'm going to be under the throne with her. But I say this to say, certain things they can never prepare you for. Even when they even if somebody would have told me, I'd have been like, I know you fucking lying. What? I gotta what? Okay. Yeah. So, but it's beautiful. Once you go through it, it's beautiful. And the one crazy thing about all of this is once you knock on that door, you belong to a community. Wherever you fucking go, you belong. Like, I go to Brazil, I go to Nigeria, I go to Cuba, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, I go to New York, I go to Cali. I belong. I belong, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, listen, and that's when you think about all of the people that preserve something for you to partake in, you know, and think about how many, like you said, even in your own family, how many hundreds of years of Ocha you have just in your family alone, you know, and you compound that across the world of how many people you're connected to based on your Rama and like who your elders are and where they came from, and like how you can literally trace all the way back to even the boat that some of these people came over on. That's how detailed and how to the point we are. When you got to call, when you have to make Mojuba, you have to call down all of these people's names. Those are people. Like, those are real people.
And the other fascinating part of that, when you Mojuba, right? One day, you're going to be, whatever Rama you're in, you're going to be one of the elders that they call on. I just got chills. Woo! One day, they're gonna Mojuba my name, my Ocha name, as a priestess of Yemaya. That's forever with me. I'm about to cry. Oh shit. Yeah. So that's another reason why you want to be a good person in the religion, because when you don't want nobody fucking with them or you with your name rolling their eyes like this motherfucker.
This shady motherfucker.
This bitch.
We don't want that. You want all of the ide. You want all
I want all the fucking loose and progress.
You want all I can get. All the light, all of the everything, because you don't want people like, oh God,
this fucking shady asshole.
I mean, we laughing about it now, but this is
that's for real.
This is not a new phenomenon, right? Like, that's why, when you even like read some of the Odu, you realize like people been on their bullshit for a long time.
Honey, and the Odu you pull will tell your business. They'll tell the world you a shady bitch.
Like this Odu specifically speaks to somebody who's gossiping, backstabbing, and sleeping with people's husbands. What? Excuse me? Like,
you're a trash ass bitch. This is what this Odu say.
But that's just like, well, if I know human behavior, people don't change all that much. So, build societies and cities, and we have all the technological advancements, all that's cute and everything. But people is gonna be people. And
yes, but the beautiful thing is it also tells you how not to be that fucked up person.
Yeah.
You got a choice in being fucked up. And also, you can't walk around thinking you Orisha because you crown.
Listen,
like, sit your goofy ass down somewhere. You're not Orisha. You can't. They did the fuckery, so you could learn from it. You can't go do fuckery like, oh, I'm a child of such and such, so I'ma just be a hoe. No.
No.
That ain't how that works. There's a price for being a hoe, honey.
And I know that is a sensitive topic for a lot of people, but this is, and listen, I will stand on this hill. This age of, I'm going to conflate my spirituality with my sexuality, and like, I don't know why you need to do that. You don't need to do that. Okay.
I got to be proud of Oshun because I'm a hoe, or because I like sexy shit. Like, dude, my daughter's a child of Oshun. Do you know how hard children of Oshun have it? Like, Oshun is a Orisha that don't fuck around. She, like, I don't want to say Iya's petty because that's my mama too. Like, I'm a child of two waters. But that's not the Orisha that you want to fuck with. Don't ask her for shit. I got Oshun in my house. I don't ask her for nothing. I leave her the fuck alone. telling me,
like you've done enough.
You fucking up, I leave her the fuck alone.
Like you've done enough for me. Please, I don't need anything. I'm good.
Thank you. I just wanted to give you something. Here, I love you. I buy her brass bracelets. I buy a beautiful. My Oshun is beautiful. But do I go opening her up like, Iya, it's so cool that if I want to know, can I don't bother her. I really don't bother my Orishas, period. But especially her, I ain't asking her for nothing. Because she already came to collect on one of the things I asked when I was stupid. Some 30 years ago.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, our timeline is we're so human. We don't think that this is an endless situation. You know, what we consider to be a long time is just a blip. You know, it's like, it's a blip. And when they when they come back, like, hey, remember that thing you asked me for? You can't, oh, damn, I forgot about that. Oh, well, I didn't. So,
yeah.
I'm here.
While we talking about it, if whoever's listening, and I know, you know, everybody thinks Oshun is all sweet and, you know, she loves you and she's goddess of love and all this shit, right? I want y'all to look up the story of La Cosita. L-A, new word, Cosita, C-O-S-I-T-A, and Oshun. Don't fuck with that lady. Just read that story alone. And you'll see how
I will be putting the information in the blog post where y'all can find out the pataki of La Cosita.
Yes, and La Cosita came to bite me in the ass. That's why I'm telling everybody go read it.
Okay. Now I'm excited to read it because I'm like, what is going on? But the patakis are great. So, guys, the patakis are so, like, that to me is where, like you said, like you learn how they fucked up, and it's like you don't want to do the same thing that they did. Like, you don't have to do it like that. That's why we have these stories.
Yes,
you know, so that way people understand. Like, yes, this is a pattern of behavior that has already been documented. Like, that's also the other part. Like, you ain't doing nothing new or original. Like, somebody already did this, and this is how it worked out for them. So if you want something different, it will behoove you to move different. You know,
it will behoove you
to move different. So you ain't got to do it like that. And you know, it also shows the consequences of what happens when people continue on a path that's not really for their highest good. And then those are great. You know, just to me as an Aleo, like those were the things that I gravitated towards first. You know, because I'm a writer and I love to read, and I was just like, well, what is something like? I don't want to call it folklore, but like in that perspective, but it is, you know, you get to see what was, you know, you're looking at so many different aspects of Yoruba society through those pataki. You're seeing what was the cultural norms, what were the religious norms, you know, how were women being regarded and treated, how were families expected to behave, this code of conduct, moral standard. I mean, it's everything in something so simple as a story, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, that's powerful, you know. And for us, there was no books, right? That like people were not writing these books. This I'm gonna write everything down is new. All of this.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. All this I'm gonna write it down is very new. You absolutely right.
You know. So, do you sometimes feel, as a writer and as an Olorisha, like, do you sometimes feel that, you know, you have a responsibility to uphold when it comes to writing about certain things or discussing certain things with the Orisha and with these traditions, especially as a writer?
I do. I feel it's important. Like, integrity is one of the biggest things I talk about. Like, I cuss, I can be ratchet, I'm with the shits, but I have integrity. And it's just certain things. I don't give a fuck what the price is. I'm not doing it. It ain't what you offering ain't worth me pissing off my Orishas. It is not worth it to me. So I believe in writing. Sometimes we become a little disingenuous because we try. A lot of people try to present themselves as all knowing. And in the grand scheme of things, I don't know shit. What I do know, I share, and what I don't know, I ask. And it's okay not to know. That's the thing I think people miss. And when they're trying to present as all-knowing, it's okay not to know. We got a whole lifetime to learn. Even the oldest Olorisha learns something new every day. With their vast wealth of knowledge, they learn something new every day.
And that's what is going to keep the religion moving, is that we all have to be active participants in learning something new every day, because we're not all going to learn the same things. We don't all need to know the same things, but the community, you know, the collective at large, we need that information. Everybody has their role to play, you know?
Yes.
So it's important that we all continue to just learn as much as we can, because
I talk about hierarchy in this faith a lot. Like your old dudes in your Ocha and when you go to Ita, your old dudes tell you your place in the religion.
Wow. Okay.
And I'm sharing a lot right now.
I appreciate it.
I am. I'm sharing a lot. I'm sharing things that aren't normally discussed. But like, this isn't a ceremony, so I'm not giving away a secret. But I do believe that we should be transparent about that. Everybody's place in this religion is very different. And your Odu determines what your place is. And I think that's something that we should acknowledge. Because it seems like, you know, everybody thinks, you know, having Ocha comes with this power. And depending on what your Odus are, your power has limits. My power has limits. I can't go popping off to people.
She's like, I can't carry a ratchet no more. That's terrible.
Yeah, I can't pop off to people no more. 20 years ago, I popped off on everybody.
See, well.
So, I mean, and also, like, my power has limits. I deal with mental illness. And literally, when I went to Ocha, that shit dropped on the mat.
Wow.
Who would have knew? I don't suffer from anxiety. I'm pretty even keeled, but I suffer from depression, and it all was brought about from the death of my father. And then I have these moments where I disconnect from people. Like now my mom is like, okay, you having one of your moments, just call me when you're done. But it was a time when I would just go radio silent. People would be calling and texting like, damn, she dead, you all right? And I wouldn't, I'll read the shit and wouldn't respond. I don't want to talk. That's how I get through what I need to get through. I'm in therapy too, but that's how I cope. I need to be around people, and at the same time I don't. Like when I had enough of you motherfuckers, I dead you. It's not personal. This is just how I get through things.
Okay. So you're a medium as well, right?
Yes. Since
okay, so I'm okay. As a medium who also suffers from depression, who's hospitalized, who went through the whole shebang, I honestly feel that our mediumship is definitely a gateway. It's like a little flapping door to like depression or like anxiety or anything that unsettles the mind, because we are constantly filtering so many different things. It's like when you have your own things, you with all of that other stuff and your shit too. You be like, okay, you know what? I can only deal with me right now. I can't deal with all of y'all, and I don't want to answer the phone because I go through those moments myself. Like I have to actively say to people like, listen, I'm not really in the mood right now. I'll call you when I'm feeling better. And some people understand it. You know, my parents are so different from me. They are the girl, you gonna be all right, and I'm like, I'm actually not all right. I'm really, really fucked up right now.
Yeah.
and it's not anything that I could really explain. But I also feel that in terms of like mental health and like mediumship, I'm grateful for the fact that I know I'm not as developed as a medium as I want to be yet, right? Like I'm still developing. But in my development, it has really helped me with my depression, because there was times like it took me a long time to understand like that intricate balance between like my muertos and my feelings. Understanding like sometimes even when I fall into that black hole, you know, they trying to pull me out. They need things to do that, right? Like my table got to be right so that way they can have the light to, you know, help me back to where I'm supposed to be. If the table's dark and I'm dark, I'm scared, honestly, because I'm like, oh, this shit is gonna go left because I'm not it's literally like walking in a dark room with nothing, you know, and it's a very, that feeling, I've noticed though in the past couple of years, I haven't felt that heaviness that I used to feel. You know, I still have my moments, but it's definitely not as intense as it used to be. It used to be very, very intense, you know, but I also feel that because we are people that have a capacity to perceive more, we also, on the flip side, you can feel more too, you know, so our sensory, you know, our senses, our perception of sense and different, you know, energies and things like that, it's a two-way door, you know, it flows both ways. So the same way how you can feel an influx of other people's business, which is very unsettling sometimes. I think we can talk about that a little bit, but like to round things off, to talk about espiritismo in that way of like, when you feeling these things and then you got to talk with people and then their people's popping up, you're like, okay, you know what, I don't even know you like that, but this and this, and they're like, oh my, how did you know that? And you're like, girl, I don't really want to go into it.
I kick people out of my house every day. Like,
do you
get the fuck out? Why the fuck are you here? Get out. You ain't my people. You gotta go.
So as an espiritista, did you come up going to misas and like participating in those types of things?
I did not.
Oh, okay.
I didn't. So, like for me, oh God, this was like from when I was little kid. I would dimension hop, and then I would see things. So I would see things. They would show me things like in real time. It looked like a video reel. So I see something happening, and then for a long time I wouldn't say anything, and then it would happen, and I'd be like, oh shit. And then it just got to the point where I couldn't hold it anymore. And I really didn't give a fuck if you didn't believe what I said. I just had to get it out because it was just causing me so much stress. And I'll never forget when I lived in Connecticut. It was when the first Insidious came out, right? My mom, I was actually on a date. My mom calls me. She's like, oh, what you doing? I was like, I'm out. She was like, okay, what's your plans for the night? I was like, oh, I'm going to the movie. She was like, when you go see Insidious, she said, I want you to go see Insidious. And then I want you to call me when it's over. And I was like, because I saw the previews, I was like, that should look scary. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to see that on the first date. But so we go and we see Insidious. And have you seen the movie?
No, I'm scared of scary movies.
Okay, so Insidious is a movie where a boy has a gift to, when he goes to sleep, he goes from dimension to dimension.
Okay.
And in the movie, he gets stuck in this outer dimension, and he brings back all of these evil or dead spirits, malignant spirits. And so I see the movie, and I'm like, this is my fucking childhood in this movie.
Oh gosh.
So I call my mom, and I'm quiet as fuck. I'm shook like a motherfucker. And I was like, hey ma, I saw it. And she was in tears, and she was like, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Because in the movie, the parents don't really know how to help the son. So they hire the psychic who goes in to get him. And my mom was like, when you were little, it wasn't that I didn't believe you. I didn't know how to help you. I was scared of the dark for a really long time because of it.